when it comes to marriage and friendship, we've had to learn how to be each other's friends. I think now we've been married now 5 years as of
shout out to y'all.
Last month, a couple weeks ago.
Anniversary?
I had to think about it.
You don't know your
so
anniversary?
much is happening. It has taken 5 years for us to learn how to like really do that, and we're still learning. Because sometimes when you're with somebody, like you want to try to fix them, and they don't need you to be fixed. They don't need you to fix them. They just need you to be there.
Welcome to the Authentic Exchange podcast, where we unravel, reveal, and heal from life trauma, experience, and current situations. I am your host, T. Million, and today I have my very first guest, Alexis. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, I'm done with my turn-up dance. I'm so excited. Hello, everybody. I'm Alexis Cheatham. I'm excited to be here. I want to tell people how we met.
Okay, so she's going to jump off and start us. So, well, first, before we do that, who are you?
All right, so let's see. How do I describe myself? I'm a wife. I'm a mom of 3, Zion, Claude III, and Zaria. I always forget to say this. I'm an author. I wrote a book. I'm a minister. I don't tell a lot of people that one. I'm
first lady.
I'm a first lady. My husband is a preacher. I'm an educator, mentor, big sister, daughter, all that.
Okay.
Friend.
When you unravel all that, who are you?
Who am I? He's deep already. When I unravel all of that, I'm very authentic.
What does that mean for you? Because I mean, don't say it because you're on the podcast, you know.
But I just love that word though. I love transparency. I love being real. I love being an open book. I love like sharing me to help others. So like just being my authentic self everywhere. Like I'm crazy like this at church, at the restaurant, at the park with the kids.
Let's jump into this. I got a question for you.
Okay,
remember the time at first?
Oh God.
Remember the time at Ladies First at our banquet?
Yes.
Remember when I got up and spoke?
I kind of remember. We were in high school like 20 years ago, guys. But carry on.
How did we meet? Let's talk about it.
Okay. We met in high school at First Coast. Were you a grade below me?
I was 2, but I followed love and jumped up. Yeah.
You were 2 years.
I was supposed to be in 2012, but I graduated early.
That's crazy. Okay. So we met in high school at First Coast High School. Go Bucks. Woo. In a group called Ladies First. Do you still follow Miss Berry and Miss Robinson?
Yes, shout out to them because we're naming names, but no more names, sister.
Okay. Shout out to them. Yeah, those are the only names, but shout out to them because they mentored us. But we were part of this girls group. And honestly, like, I don't think we really knew what we were a part of at that time. I think now to see like how everyone has kind of evolved and all of the women that were a part of that, like, have done so many amazing things. It's like really cool.
Right. So you just mentioned it, how we met. Do you feel like who you met then and who you see now?
God, no. You can finish your question.
Do you feel so? Okay, so since that's the case, like, what do you feel like? So many people think that my writers since day one are supposed to stay my writers, and of course, as life goes on, we basically transition from friends. Like we outgrow people, and people hold on to your change. You're not the same person you are, and so I wanted to talk to you today to ask you, like, how did your friends accept, and did you lose friends when you became a wife, a mom, a first lady, and the list of things that you do now?
Man, like this is, I have gone through so many transitions when it comes to friendship. Even down to like friends that I got used to having. It was like nothing bad happened, but we just kind of like outgrew each other. And like our roles in life kind of changed. And I would say a lot of those times I didn't know how to manage my new roles. So like, for example, when I first became a mom, I became a mom before becoming a wife. The ghetto. When I first became a mom and I had my first son, Zion, like I had a lot of friends that like wanted to be there for me. But honestly, because of my shame of like how that happened, I kind of like shut the world out. So like that was a phase of friendship that I lost because I didn't know how to manage that. And then becoming a wife, like my best friend that me and my best friend are still very much best friends today, but me and my best friend, like we had a difficult time because I transitioned from like me and her ride or die to like me and my husband. And that was that was a change that both of us had to learn how to transition. Um, but what I can say now, finally, which is crazy, but not crazy, but finally at the age of 30, I can legit say I know what I want in friends and I have a solid group of friends. And it's not a big group, and that's weird for me.
So, I mean, we mentioned how friends transition and things like that. Do you feel as though it was a lack of being a friend to them and losing them, or you felt like there's a lack in them showing up for you too? Because I know sometimes we look at friends and we all have our own defined definition of it. But what is a friend? Like I know we talk about friends, and we'll go deeper into that. But define friends for me, and like what does that look like for you now versus when you first started off saying, "Girl, you're my friend. Hey, girl."
Yeah. So like I'll start off. So initially, like when I was super young, super immature, friend for me was just anybody I had a good time with, or anybody I felt like I could just have a good time, and now you my friend, and I want to tell you everything, and just that's it. We having a good time now. We friends. But now for me, friendship has become something that is so special. Because I've realized that my friends are family to me. My friends are any relationship, period, because I'm such a relational person. It's sacred. That's what I was looking for. It's very sacred for me because in the different roles that I play, and the hats that I carry in life, like my friends have to be able to manage me in all of those moments. So me as a minister, like yes, I'm the same person. I'm goofy. I'm a crack jokes anywhere, but me as a minister and me just hanging out is like not the same me, you
Mhm.
know? And so my friends have to be able to handle that. They have to be able to handle me as a wife, as a mom, be understanding. And so I really think friends are just something that's so sacred. And if I can define it to really answer that question, I would define it as, oh man, people that know your heart. I feel like when it comes to friendship, you should never have to defend your character or
Right.
defend like who you are. They should be able to know who you are in good and bad and different and so,
So, good point. I haven't always been a great friend, right? And I look back and I've actually reached out to some people and apologized because, like,
girl, me
as you,
too.
yeah, right, as you go through life, you realize like it's always someone else before it's you. Like
Mhm.
I'm so quick to point the finger, like, they ain't show up for me, or and have so much aggression into my posture and even my language with them. But I look back now and say, like, you really wasn't really a friend. Like
Yeah.
we think as friends of like buying something, showing up, taking a picture, but like, where are you? Like you said, in my darkest moments, like,
Mhm.
I want to talk to you. Like when you had your miscarriage, like, did you redefine your friends then, and like y'all really weren't my friends, or some of y'all were just in the show, or did you shout out your friends because they all stuck around through that time? Because we talk about the good times and
Yeah.
baby showers, weddings, everything like that. But looking back in myself and like going through my broken stage, I didn't have many friends to call on or lean on or be like the friends in the Bible to lift me up in front of
Mhm.
Jesus and say she needs healing. And so, how did that look for you when you was looking at your friends when you went through that tough time? Did you shut them out too?
Man, so it was already a awkward time because when I did have my miscarriages in 2020. So the world was already weird at that time in 2020 when I had my miscarriage. But I would say I think because I'm such an emotional person, I lean on people so much that sometimes that could be a flaw of mine. I can lean on people sometimes too much, if that makes sense. Because as a believer, we're taught to lean on God, and a part of my struggle with my friends, like I'll use my best friend as an example. One of our falling outs was about the fact that like I gave her too much, trauma and
Right.
too much that it was too much to handle. And while I want my friends to be able to handle it, I don't want to dump on them what I need to go talk to a therapist about, what I need to pray about, and things
Right.
like that. And so I had to learn to not overly extend my friends in terms of that. And so like my friends were there during that dark time and during multiple dark times for me, but I had to kind of learn like, hey, you know, your friends are not licensed therapists
hello.
that can just take on everything, you know, like that's where I had, like you were saying, you know, you weren't always a good friend. Like I could say the same because I'll like dump all of that on my friends and then not get off the phone and be like, wait, let me call them back and see how was their day. Like, are you even in a space to take what I'm saying?
So wait, you're the friend who just say, hey, and poor, and you don't say, hey, how are you?
Like,
because I'm the friend that hangs up and says, so we're going to try this again.
I had to learn. I had to really learn how to do that. Okay. Like, I had to learn how to get better at that.
Right.
Because like I said, I mean, going back to unraveling, like I was the only child most of my life till my dad got remarried and I have sisters. Right. And so being an only child is like lonely. So they say it's lonely, but it's not too bad. Okay. But it is lonely.
And I got so like 6 siblings. I can't relate. I'm tired. Second oldest. Right. I'm tired.
Oh yeah, you're real tired. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, like as an only child, you know, like you sit in your room a lot. And so my friends became lifelines for me. And I think my friendships, while they've taught me how to be a friend, they've also taught me that I need to learn how to depend on God more. Because my best friend was like real with me and was just like, hey, like I can't handle everything, you know. You got to pray about something. Right. I can't handle all of that. So just learning how to depend on your friends, but not make them an idol.
So your husband, I know you rave about him on social media. The world knows you love your man. That's my man, my man, my man for you. And I see y'all dynamic on social media. And of course, everyone's going to post the good pictures, what's going right. And so how did you transition to have to share space and be his friend, not just his wife? Because I can only imagine, I'm not married, trying to be, but not. I want to know, like, how can you show up for him as a friend? How does he show up for you? Because we're living in a world who everyone wants to be married, but then it fails because they expect a certain role. And so how are you able to balance that role?
Oh, girl, bring me back for episode 4.5. No.
Right.
But no, when it comes to marriage and friendship, we've had to learn how to be each other's friends. I think now we've been married now 5 years as of
shout out to y'all.
Last month, a couple weeks ago.
Anniversary?
I had to think about it.
You don't know your
so
anniversary?
Much is happening. I was like, wait, when was that?
He bought you those $1,000 shoes? Okay, anyway, go ahead.
But no, it has taken 5 years for us to learn how to like really do that. And we're still learning. Because sometimes when you're with somebody, like you want to try to fix them. And they don't need you to be fixed. They don't need you to fix them. They just need you to be there. And so I've had to really learn, like with my husband and his flaws, to not try to fix him, but just like sometimes he just needs me to be there. And it's the same with him. Like he is such an ambitious person. He loves to like push people and to make people better and things like that. That's a part of like his purpose, his ministry. And so like some of our arguments would be like me crying, you pushing me too hard. I don't want to go to school, write a book, do this, do that. And he had to learn like how to just, sometimes I just need you to listen. Like sometimes I just need you to be there. But that's one of the things I love about our marriage is that we are literally the best of friends.
That's
like
cool. You mentioned that.
Go to see Beyonce.
Oh, I saw that.
Love that for me.
Oh. But no, when you mentioned that of just how to just be a friend, it's crazy. I was in the shower one day, right? And I was like praying for my husband. I don't know face. I don't know who he is. But God spoke a word to me and he said to me, your husband doesn't need another mother. He needs a helpmate.
Oh, girl.
And so many times, like even looking back at past relationships and failed relationships, even if just friendships, like with, my girls, I've always tried to be the second mother. And I don't know if it was because I'm the second oldest and had to mother my younger siblings, or if it's like a woman's intuition. But I really wanted to know, like, basically, how do you deal? Because I'm second mama. Like, I need you to do this. And I don't know how to turn that off.
It's hard. Like, I'm still learning that. It's really hard because they really don't need another mom.
They need to listen.
They do. They don't listen. My husband doesn't listen. But they really do need a helpmate, and you have to. I can't lie. It's something that you don't have in your own strength, because as women, we are naturally, like, even without having kids, we're naturally nurturers and mothers and really leaders, honestly. And so when you are like, when you get close to someone and you get to your husband and you start to see his imperfections, the first thing you want to do is like help him and teach him how to do it better, because you need to do it better. Because again, men don't listen. But no, like it takes a lot of prayer. It takes a lot of patience. Because and believe it or not, it's the same thing with him and me. And I have to say, like, hey, like, don't be telling me what to do, but I have to listen. I don't listen either. It's hard. But it takes a lot of prayer, and it really does take a lot of patience, but it's easier when you are with someone that is a friend and y'all genuinely love each other and you genuinely have a friendship first.
Did you see like where y'all are today? Just talking basically, but did you see where y'all are today? Did you imagine that now? Like looking back, did you see it being here, Atlanta, and married?
No, absolutely not.
Was it for a fun time?
Like it's
or a long time, I don't know.
So he is younger than me. He's a jit, as we say in Florida.
Means he's younger.
No, he's younger than me, and we met in college at Bethune-Cookman. And the first time he came to talk to me, I was dancing in a band. I think I was like a junior.
Twerking.
Yeah, I was twerking. And I had just got out of band practice, and he came up to me and was like, introducing himself, talking to me, whatever. And I was like, yeah, you a preacher. I know you are. I don't like preachers.
But your daddy's a preacher.
Mind your business. I didn't want one of those, okay?
You wanted a hood nigga?
I did. Like, so I was very like, yeah, whatever. I know who you are, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, we still have DMs. Like, one of our jokes is he used to call me his big sister when we were in college. Look at us. Look at us.
Okay.
Very ghetto. And he used to like do things in ministry. And of course, he knew my dad's pastoring and all that. And one day he got in a car accident. I saw it on Facebook because he's so dramatic. Why would you post your car accident on Facebook? I feel like he wanted me to see it.
Shade.
But he posted his car accident on Facebook. He says that I slid in his DM. I don't see it like that. But anyway, we started talking because I was trying to make sure he was okay. Like,
you cared.
I wouldn't say I cared. I just want to make sure he was all right.
But you skipped the part, so we got to go back. So I don't know. So he introduced himself at the game, and you all liked each other. Because what made you want to? So how'd y'all become friends on Facebook?
It was so weird. So we were already friends on Facebook and all that, but it was just it was years later. Like we met we met like 4 years before we ever like started talking or anything. And he claimed I used to like hit him with my car when I was driving through campus. Whatever. But he, I saw he got in a car accident and I wrote him and was like, hey, like, are you okay? I saw what happened. And literally like it went from there. And the first thing, cause I already had my son Zion, and he wrote me and was like, hey, I would love to, cause I was at home in Jacksonville. He was still in Daytona. He was like, I would love to come and take you and your son out to lunch. And Zion at the time was 4 months. And I'm like, me and my son, like, okay. So we went to Chili's, and ever since then, like, we've literally been best friends. But when I say I would not have seen that coming, like, ever in a million years, I never imagined myself marrying Claude Cheatham, having kids, being in Atlanta, doing ministry together. None of that. I saw none of this happening.
So is it because you saw church and you knew church and you didn't want the same experience, or was it because
absolutely all of that you just said? Like my experience with church has been my whole life.
Right.
My parents, my grandparents, even at my grandparents' house, we found a certificate. Somebody in my family was a minister licensed over 100 years ago. So like it's deep in my bloodline. And I always said, even if I called my granddad right now, my granddad is 96. Yes. And it's a joke that like I'm with a preacher, because he always said, since I was a little girl, I always said I would never get with a preacher.
And now you're first lady.
And now here I am with a preacher, and I'm a preacher. It's ghetto. But yeah, no, I try to run away from like who I authentically was at that time. Like that was especially in college. Like college was my big stepping out from being like the preacher's daughter and everybody knowing I'm Pastor Gunn's daughter. So I'm about to go to college. I'm about to turn up. I'm about to be somebody different. That didn't go so well. So here I am.
That's good. No, that's good. So what do you see for yourself now that you're transitioning and you're now accepting who you are and the titles that you are in? So I know you mentioned author. Like, how do you plan on transitioning that to where stepping away from mother and just finding Alexis aside from all the other titles? Like, what do you see for yourself?
I'm still finding that because I started when I was in Jacksonville, I started doing so much. I did a book. It was kind of a podcast. I guess you could say that. It was like my own podcast and all these things. And I started discovering like my voice, my purpose, my ministry. And then we moved here and like my season changed. And I've been in rediscovery mode. Like since having Zaria in June, that's what I'm on my journey figuring out. I know for a fact I'm called to ministry. Like as much as I don't want to be, I know that that's my call. It naturally comes out of me. And so like honestly, right now is wherever God wants to take me with it. I know I got another book in me. I just don't know what it is. I know that I'm gonna do a podcast again. I just don't know when I'm gonna do it. But I do see myself really me and my husband, our ministry flowing together and just fulfilling purpose together. I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. I'm just here.
We all just here because let me tell you, I'm coming and I'm going. They're trying to figure out what is Shayla really doing, right?
Yeah.
I said Shayla because they know me as
Yeah.
Shayla. And so that's why I wanted to know because I know as I'm finding myself and I'm actually relearning and retransitioning into who I want to become and not staying in the roles or titles of who someone told me I was going to be and taking on what mama said I should do, like be a doctor and all this extra stuff. I just wanted to see from somebody that I actually admire. Oh my God. I actually admire because like you were ladies' first president, like you did great things and you've always held your posture to be of class. It was never like I never remember you going lower with anybody. It could be behind the scenes, but you put on well. And so that's why I always wanted to know like what do you intend to do? What can we expect from you in the next year? What's a dream?
Man. I want to do something in terms of ministering to women again, especially like young women. I feel like we have, because I absolutely love her. I feel like we have Sarah, and there's something about Sarah. I feel like me and hers together. I love her, but I love something similar to like what Sarah is doing in terms of her ministry, and just helping women navigate like being a wife, desiring those things, finding your own purpose, being a mom, figuring out who you are. But then I also enjoy, this is a side of me I don't talk about much, but I guess I'll talk about it because I think. I enjoy like helping ministries and helping churches plan strategically. And so like one of the things that I love doing, I found a passion in youth ministry. But a part of my passion inside of youth ministry was like strategic planning and just helping churches run in excellence. So I know I'm gonna do something with that. I'm just still figuring out like what that looks like. But just definitely being able to be real because I feel like a lot of church and like generations before us, church leaders have not always made God, Jesus, have not made it real or practical enough to where we can understand and take him with us in our everyday life.
Right.
And so like that's something I'm very, very big on. That's why I'm just so open about like, yeah, I did this, I did that. I went here, I went there, I had my son, I had a miscarriage, I cheated, I lied, I've done this. I've not always done it right. Because I just want people to be able to see Jesus, but like in a real way.
Right.
And so like in the next year, I'm gonna redefine everything that I was doing, but just kind of figure out what it is and which way God wants me to take it.
I just talked about that on my last episode about influence. There's so much influence out here. Everyone's an influencer. Everyone wants to influence. And we miss the part where there's a double side to influence. There's the good side, which is you would inspire somebody when you influence them.
Yeah.
Or if there's influence where you deceive somebody because it's deception. Like you can influence somebody to go the wrong way or tell them false truths, basically a lie, and make them feel like that's the right thing to do. And so I love what you're about to do because, like I said, I remember you back in high school, and you're not there anymore. But as you've grown and transitioned, I do notice that you've kept your posture to be right. And I say that because we all fumble and we fall, but you've never I've never seen you act out of character or become anybody else based upon like who you truly are at the core of who you are. And I appreciate that. So
thank you. I love you.
I love you too. And
You
so
should have came to college with me though, girl. That's all other.
I was following a man. Like I was following the man. Let's talk about it for a little second. Shayla was no, I was dick dumb. I was dick dumb, y'all. I was dick dumb, and as we're talking, like I asked you questions, so you can ask me questions, but following love led. But I'm gonna say this: following love at the time led me to find Christ.
Yeah, it does that. It really, really does.
No, I didn't intend to find him. Yeah. I was intending to find my husband.
It does that. Like it really, when you, I don't know, it's kind of interesting because I mean, even in my marriage, the low moments expose my trauma, my weaknesses, and then like it forced me to go to Christ for real because it's just like I can't get through this or manage this if like he's not at the center and he's not helping.
So I'm gonna tell you something. I didn't go like so. That's what's different. I didn't go to Christ. I didn't find Christ in that way. Like
he
I'm broken.
You in the face and ran over you.
So basically,
we're talking about Jesus, by the way, guys.
Right? Because ain't no man ever.
Right? No.
But no. So how I found Christ was so crazy. And let me take a back step. My grandmother, when I used to stay with her, or she used to come over or live with us, I would go and walk with her to church because she never had a car, never had a license. And so I would walk with her to church, and that's cool, all that stuff, but didn't understand because it wasn't always an everyday thing. I found Christ in college when an associate at the time, or a friend at the time, said, "Oh, this is pastor that drives a helicopter." Da, 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 da. And I'm like, I was the bitter Betty, like, oh, he checking the church money. He got a helicopter. Like he ain't nothing. So she's like, well, come see about him. Right. Yeah. And so I went, and I remember at the time, the pastor, he literally said, he had this, like, I don't know if it was a motto or what, but he had this saying where if you give his teaching and Christ at least 6 months, you won't be the same. And I told him, I said, you're going to church? He said, if you are, he'll shut the church down. Something along those lines. Me being a rebel at the time, I'm like, oh, well, baby, get ready to shut the church down. Because I ain't changing. I ain't changing. And so in that, I kept going just looking like I was a Pharisee. I was looking to see like, what are you really about? Like, where the money come from? Yeah. Like, are you really teaching? Like, what are you really doing?
But that's our entire generation. Like, everybody's like that right now. Like, are y'all real? And when it comes to like Christians, especially leaders, because we have been disappointed when it comes to church leaders. And like there are people that have lied to us, but then there are so many good ones.
Right. And so when I came, I didn't expect to get any teaching. I came to look upon and see like, what are y'all doing? And as I kept going, it was no more about what he had or what he had to show for or what his own life was. I didn't know much of that. It was more so like what he was teaching. I actually went back into the word and found what he was teaching. And so that made me realize like, oh, this is real. Yeah. And so that's when I started discovering, oh, my grandma, who used to be a praying grandmother. Oh, that's what she's talking about. That's what she means when she says have faith in this. And so it wasn't intentional to find Christ. I didn't intend to stumble upon the good news. It was more so like, I'm going to the dorm having sex still, but I'm also going to church to see what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. So I was very conflicted. And it wasn't until I hit a rock bottom to where all I had was the church and crying at the altar and not knowing why I'm there. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't.
And it happens. It really does happen like that. Because I mean, even with me, I mean, I've been in church literally since the womb. Like when I was born, my parents were pastoring. But I can honestly say I did not develop my own relationship with God until probably college like for real. Because I think I was doing more things out of like I always knew But I was doing it out of my routine. Because,
Right.
I mean, I've been getting up and going to church on Sundays my whole life. That's just what we do. Like, it's second nature.
Right.
But in terms of understanding the word, and just not even understanding the word, but just building my own relationship with Christ, I was able to find out who he is for myself. And it was rock bottom.
Right.
It was definitely rock bottom. So
I'll say this before we wrap it up. And I thank you so much for coming out and having a conversation with me. But just to tie it into what you were saying, the fivefold ministry, for anybody who's listening or watching, they can lead you to the well, but they can't make you drink.
Again.
They can lead you to the well, but they can't make you drink. And you have to know God for yourself. Like, we can talk about it. We can have the cameras. We can have the flashlights. We can have Sarah wig falling off. We can have the helicopters. But at the end of the day, it's all a show. And only thing you're doing is looking upon what they're doing and judging it, not knowing, because you're not connected to the source. And so if I could take anything to you all today, it would be to go to the well ready to drink. Don't just go to look upon what they're doing and who they're saving and how they're saving them. And if that's real, find out for yourself. That's all I have to say. And so again,
I just want to say that was good. And she said that she was nervous and she just gave a word. Just want to put that out there.
No, that's in the belly.
That was good, though.
But yes,
that was really good.
So thank you all again for tuning in. My name is Tiga Million. I am your host with the Authentic Exchange. Tell everybody where they can find you and who you are again.
What is my Instagram? I'm Alexis Cheatham. You can find me on Instagram at LadyLex_C. I think that's my Instagram. You can find me on Facebook at Alexis Michelle Cheatham. Or you can just find me outside in these streets.
Girl, thank you all for tuning in on the Authentic Exchange podcast. Until next time, I am your host, Tiga Million, and take care.